Good morning and welcome to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for Jackson-Madison County Schools. This morning, we're visiting with Shannon Davis, Principal of Alexander Elementary School. We'll discuss innovative steps Principal Davis and her team are taking to increase academic growth and leadership opportunities among the student body at Alexander. Also, Evette Nesbitt, a member of our district's family support team, will join us later, and she'll tell us how Leaders Credit Union and other community partners are assisting families in need this holiday season. More on that in a moment, but first, here's a quick reminder. For the District, the JMCSS podcast is a production of the Jackson-Madison County School System in partnership with Forever Communications. You can listen to this episode on demand on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Principal Davis!
Yes!
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and I will start where we always start with our guests.
Okay.
Did you always know that you wanted to work in education? And we're asking this because now you're the principal at Alexander, but did you always wanted to work in education?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I wanted to be an FBI agent. So I know that's different from education, but
Slightly.
Yes. When I was at Haywood High, we had a group that would come in and tell us about different careers, and it just so happened to be the FBI, and I was intrigued by everything.
Wow.
The information that they gave us. So I went home, told my parents, told my grandmother, and everyone was like, maybe you should be a teacher. So that's how I ended up in education.
In reflection, how would you have hoped or wanted that conversation to go?
Well, I wanted them to, they were really, okay with it, but thought that it may be just a tad bit dangerous for me. So that's why they put the education there. And I'm happy about that because my uncles, I have an aunt that's an educator, several friends of our family are educators, so it just kind of fit for me.
Well, after this podcast is released, it may not be too late for us to find out who Agent Davis. We're visiting with Shannon Davis. She's principal of Alexander Elementary School. Tell us how you became a principal. Did you start off in the classroom?
Yes, I did. I started off at Nova Elementary before it became pre-K. I taught first and second grade. We did something called looping there. So the first year I had those students for first grade, then they looped back to me for second grade. I was there for 3 years and then moved to Thelma Barker, where I taught mostly second grade, but I did also teach third over there for 10 years. And one of the teachers there saw something in me. There was a job opening at JCM Early College High for an academic coordinator, and she said, hey, why don't you apply? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be a second grade teacher the rest of my life, but I did apply, and at that time, Dr. Jones was the superintendent, and I was hired on at JCM Early College High as the academic coordinator.
And that's where I met you.
Yes.
While you were there at Early College High. Shannon Davis is principal of Alexander Elementary School. And if you're not paying attention, when you drive down Highland there, you could miss Alexander because it sits off the road a little bit.
Yes.
But if you follow Principal Davis on social media, she wants to make sure everyone knows about 900 North Highland. I like the fact you add that in your tweets, 900 North Highland. Tell us about Alexander Elementary. Is it a pre-K 5 school or what's the setup there?
Yes, we are pre-K through 5. We are a community-based school. There are homes all around the school. A lot of our students walk to school across from Highland or on the other side of our building. And then we have some students that live right behind the school. And so we're just a small family-based school. We have about 370 students, and our students are some great students, and we have some great teachers on the inside of our building.
And I'll tell you what's been cool to see some mornings when I'm going through, when I do get up early enough to go to the lift. You can see, I don't know if it's JCM middle school students or high school students, you can see the older students walking their siblings to Alexander. It's just a very cool sight to see when you say it's a community school. I mean, it really is. You see it You see it every day. So you guys recently at Alexander, I guess, was it a grant that you secured? I saw some photos on social media, and it looked like the students were on a bike, but it was a desktop. And we'll try to share these images in the YouTube version of this conversation. Tell us about that.
So we partnered with JCM Early College High with their education course that they offer, and Dr. McSweeney with the Innovation Department.
Shout out to Dr. McSweeney.
Yes, thank you, Dr. McSweeney. And one of the things that they offered was for the teachers to be able to order different things for their classrooms. So one of our teachers saw the desk bikes,
okay.
Or what they're called, and so kids can get on the bikes and continue to do their classwork. It keeps up with the mileage that they're riding. So the first time I got on there, it was you can do the speed change and all of that. It's really, really cool. It's just like a treadmill, but it's a desk.
Talk about the opportunity or the reasoning for that type of platform in a classroom.
So, we have students that may need that extra support in the classroom, maybe to give them an incentive to get on the bike. So Ms. Cooper, she is the teacher that has those in her classroom. And so they have to answer a few questions. And if you answer all of those questions correctly, you get the opportunity to ride the bike. So I was in her classroom maybe about a week ago, and no one was on the bike. It was the beginning of the lesson. And as students, they have to stand up and answer questions in her classroom. So they would stand up. She calls it pop up. They popped up, answered the questions. And after 5 questions, they knew that they could go and ride the bikes. So they're riding the bikes and then doing their work or still answering questions for her.
Shannon Davis is principal at Alexander Elementary School. Your assistant principal, Tony Brown. A lot of people remember Coach Brown being from the assistant at Northside for a while. He was also a basketball coach. He's now an assistant principal out there at Alexander.
Yes.
There's something called the Kappa League, and I guess to paint the picture for folks who may be listening on the radio, these young boys are being mentored and being taught to carry themselves like gentlemen.
Yes.
Talk about the Kappa League program.
So we are just so excited about Mr. Brown bringing the Kappa League to Alexander. So we have 2 5th-grade boys that were granted membership into the Kappa League, and Mr. Brown and his fraternity brothers do things with the students in the community service. They're teaching them about scholarship. So that would be, academics in school and then beyond. So how to apply for school, because not only are they 5th grade, they go all the way to 12th. So they are learning how to apply for colleges and universities. They are taking them on different field trips, etiquette at the dinner table. So just a huge part of this program is helping some of our young men at Alexander. And every Wednesday, they wear their Kappa League gear. So their tie, their khaki pants, and their shirt. So it's just neat to see.
And you talk about an incentive.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I better act right. I better get my work done so that I can represent the Kappa League and participate on those days. Just how important is that extra buy-in and with programs like that?
Well, I think, with Mr. Brown and his fraternity brothers bringing this to Alexander, it gives our young men an additional support system. And it's very important for the young men at Alexander to see these examples, not only from Mr. Brown and the fraternity brothers, but the other young men here at Alexander. So they sometimes will come and read, the older guys will come and read to some of our classes. So it teaches them, that relationship building amongst each other.
It's time for a quick timeout, but when we return, what you may not know about Principal Davis is, yes, she's a principal, but she was also a JMCSS parent just a few years ago. So we'll talk about that experience. And also, there on the Alexander campus, there are students from a local high school who are getting some student teaching experience. We'll talk about that after the break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM.
This is your JMCSS Minute.
This message brought to you by Jackson Madison County Schools.
Hi, I'm Evette Coleman, a senior at JCM Early College High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute. Did you know 81 bus drivers currently provide transportation for our students? This is more than a 20% increase since COVID, with many drivers coming out of retirement to provide transportation. Covering 12,000 miles daily, 8,000 students are taken to and from school with the help of our drivers. Currently, more than 2,000 families have downloaded the Where's My Bus app to stay updated about their child's bus route during the day. We're encouraging more families to use the app in order to stay aware. I'm Nevaeh Coleman, a senior at JCM Early College High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute.
Visit jmcss.org to join our team, apply for enrollment, or to schedule a tour. Choose us. Tuition free. Jackson Madison County Schools. Welcome back to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for Jackson Madison County Schools. I'm joined by the principal of Alexander Elementary, Miss Shannon Davis, who, by the way, is a Haywood native. Our superintendent, Dr. Marlon King, a Haywood native. We are happy to have you all here. I was at the Jackson Chamber, their annual celebration, and Kyle Spurgeon, who's the president and CEO of the Jackson Chamber, he said this statement that Jackson is the capital of rural West Tennessee. And I thought that was cool the way he kind of encapsulated that. But when growing up in Haywood, was Jackson the big city for you?
Jackson was the big city for us. Coming to go out to eat or to shop, we would always come to Jackson and do those things. But we also went to Memphis and Nashville too.
But nothing like Jackson.
Nothing like Jackson.
So having said that, when you think about coming from Haywood County and going to MTSU, coming back home, being a leader in education in West Tennessee, in Jackson, the capital of rural West Tennessee, how do you feel? How does that make you feel when you reflect on that?
It makes me feel really good that I am able to help students here in Jackson. My husband, he graduated from JCM, and my two children graduated.
Shout out to the Cougars.
My two children also graduated from Jackson Madison County Schools, and that just makes me feel great to be able to pour back into the students and teachers here.
You mentioned your children. Now, your daughter is Imani Williams, and folks here in Jackson may remember her. She was a reporter at WMBJ here. That's the local NBC. She moved to Arkansas to work in television. Now she's in one of the top media markets in the country. She's a reporter for WMC Action News 5. So how cool is it to be able to turn on the TV and to see your baby girl?
It is very, very cool. This is something that Imani dreamed of as a little girl growing up here in Jackson. And then we all know that she's a big talker. So this is right up her alley to be able to be on the news and to talk and get to know people across Memphis and Shelby County.
From a parent standpoint, and there may be parents who are listening to this now. So you had two children come through the Jackson Madison County school system. There's a lot of conversation now about choices and giving families choices. You know, folks here, will tell you there is choice in the Jackson Madison County school system. So thinking back a couple of years when you were a parent, thinking about the options, what kind of advice do you have for parents who are in the position now that you were in a few years ago as far as navigating these educational options for kids?
I would say to be open with the decisions that you make, and then to know the programs that the school system has to offer. Because what may be good for your child's best friend may not be necessarily the best fit for your child. Imani graduated from Madison, and then our son, Patrick Jr., he graduated from JCM Early College. So two totally different programs for high school, but they both were very successful in those programs. So I would just say educate yourself.
So there's a little homework involved.
Yes.
But for the parents, we want to encourage you, go to jmcss.org, jmcss.org to check out the offerings many platforms. You have the traditional platforms, you know, your Southside, your Northside, your Liberty, your JCM traditional platforms. JCM Early College High offering students the opportunity to earn associate degrees while they are in high school. And I know that has really helped your son in his career. Talk about Patrick Jr., if you would.
Patrick is at UT Martin. He is...
Shout out to the Skyhawks.
He is 20 years old. He will be graduating next May with his bachelor's, and he already had his associate's degree from Jackson State. So he's going back to school to get a master's and work at UT Martin as a graduate assistant. He is doing my dream of the FBI.
Is he
thing.
really?
Yes.
Wow, full circle.
So
How about
he's
that?
Into criminal justice.
Really?
So he has the associates in criminal justice, and he's getting the bachelor's in criminal justice.
So, Mom, you did your homework to find out about JCM Early College High. Your family has saved money.
Oh, yes.
Your son is saving time and money.
Yes.
Because he's just 20 years old and preparing to work on his master's degree.
Yes.
Wow, that's that right there kind of encapsulates the benefit of different educational options and product of Jackson Madison County Schools.
Yes,
That's so
yes.
cool. Talking about options, for students who are interested in considering careers in education, there's a very innovative program at JCM Early College High that is not only benefiting the JCM Early College High students, but it's also benefiting students at your school where you're a principal, Alexander, and your teachers. Talk about the teaching and learning program that's at Early College High and how it is impacting in a very positive way your campus at Alexander Elementary.
So we are so excited. This is our second year doing the teaching and learning program. Ms. Helton, she has a class of high school students that come to Alexander twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They are assigned a certified teacher, and they are basically doing a practicum in that classroom so that they can get some hands-on experience to see if education is, you know, what they want to do. And then the bigger picture is they could graduate and then come back and teach for Jackson Madison County. So that's the bigger picture and they could possibly come and teach at Alexander. Wow. But we are just excited about it. The students are getting some hands-on and extra support in the classroom, as well as the teachers. Our certified teachers at Alexander are getting that extra support from the students in that class. They teach a lesson towards the end of the semester, and it's just a range. We have them in our pre-K classrooms all the way up to 5th grade.
And I've seen it in person, and it's cool to see a second or third grader being taught by a high school student, which is closer to their age, and just the way that high school student or student teacher brings that student along in the different lessons that they teach. It's a really cool dynamic. And then add to that, they're at Early College High, so they're going to potentially complete their college career sooner than the traditional education candidate to come on back to JMCSS to work for Miss Shannon Davis.
Yes.
That is awesome. We're visiting with Shannon Davis. She is principal of Alexander Elementary School. Quick comment. So prior to coming to Alexander, you were an assistant principal at Early College High. So I know you root for the Cougars.
Yes, I do.
When you can in different athletic events. But also your husband, folks here in West Tennessee will know Patrick Davis, former JCM Cougar, but also he's an administrator with the Tennessee College of Applied Technology.
Yes, he is. Also went to Alexander. My husband walked to school from Alexander every day. But yes, he is vice president over at TCAT Jackson. So we are so excited about that. And then he's a Cougar.
Very cool. Shannon Davis, principal of Alexander Elementary School. I want to encourage you to follow Principal Davis on social media.
Yes.
She's on Twitter, folks. And I think Alexander may even be on TikTok.
We are on TikTok.
Maybe there are a few music videos out there with an administrator who has a talent for rapping, potentially. Get on social media and check it out. Principal Davis, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for what you're doing for students and families at Alexander.
Thank you.
We will have much more for the district after this break. We'll visit with Evette Nesbitt. She is a member of the family support team for our district, and she's going to tell us how Leaders Credit Union and other community partners are assisting families and students in need this holiday season. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to For the District on JJ 97.7 FM. Are you a homeschool family looking for a high-quality education for your child? Jackson Academic STEAM Academy is a tuition-free K-12 cyber school platform that allows students to learn in the comfort of their homes while receiving all the extracurricular benefits and academic support students in traditional schools receive. JASA's academic programs concentrate on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. High school students at Jackson Academic STEAM Academy have access to 16 hours of dual enrollment credit through Union University. It's an innovative setup that's providing expanded options for students. JASA is just one of many exciting tuition-free learning platforms offered by Jackson Madison County Schools. There's never been a better time to choose JMCSS. Visit jmcss.org/JASA for more information. That's jmcss.org/JASA. Choose us. Tuition-free. Jackson Madison County Schools. Welcome back to the JMCSS podcast for the district. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for Jackson Madison County Schools. Right now, we're visiting with Evette Nesbitt. She's a member of our district's family support team. She's going to tell us how Leaders Credit Union and other community partners are assisting families in need this holiday season. Ms. Nesbitt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We were shouting out the JCM Cougars with Principal Davis earlier, and so I hear you're a graduate of Northside High School.
Yes, I am a graduate of Northside High School, class of 1994.
Shout out to the tribe.
Yes, shout out to the tribe. I'm a product of Jackson Madison County Schools, product of Northside High School, as well as my family members and my children.
Good. It's always a treat when we have employees who have that context having come through the district. Now, Evette, you work in our social and behavioral services department. Typically, I just say family support because that is literally what you all do. I know the month of December is really a busy time for your department as you all are participating in a coat drive and other activities and giveaways. But there is one activity that's new for our district that is coming up, and it involves Leaders Credit Union. Of course, Leaders Credit Union, one of the great community partners for our school system. Tell us about From Leaders with Love in that project.
Well, the McKinney-Vento program is fortunate, and we were selected to be a recipient of the Leaders from Love project that they do every Christmas season. On Monday evening at 5:30, they will be delivering over $1,000 worth of hygiene items. They have also adopted 5 of our McKinney-Vento families, and they will be providing Christmas gifts for those families as well.
Just to give our listeners a little bit of context, when you think about students in need, the Jackson Madison County school system has, 12,700 students, somewhere in that range. Of course, it changes. It may go up or adjust through the years. But when you think about, you're approaching 13,000 students, I'm told on any given year, almost 200 students are identified as homeless or displaced. Can you talk about that challenge for the community?
I do have to correct you. It's
go ahead.
Almost 300 students.
Almost 300 students in any given year in our school system identified as homeless or displaced. So just talking about the fact that the need is very much there.
Yes, it is. On average, we have served over 300 families who have identified as homeless. The McKinney-Vento Act, and I know you probably hear that, and many may not know what that is, but it's an act that provides resources for families who are experiencing homelessness. And homelessness may not be what most people think that homeless is. Homeless can be doubled up. My family can come live with your family, and because I don't have a house of my own, I'm considered homeless. We also have families who live in shelters, and families who live in hotels or in their vehicles.
Evette Nesbitt is a member of our district's family support team, specifically the McKinney-Vento program, helping provide supports for those students who are identified as homeless or displaced. Leaders Credit Union, once again, stepping up to be champions in the community, donating $1,000 worth of hygiene items for these families. So you think about clothing, hygiene items. There are several platforms in place for families in need to receive support from the Jackson-Madison County school system. And I think, Evette, it's important for folks to realize, in addition to educating students, the public school system is also tasked with providing support to these families.
Oh, definitely. Before you can educate a student, you have to meet their basic needs. And if the students aren't sleeping at night, or if they've, been in and out of vehicles or hotels or from house to house, and then they come to the classroom and they can't keep their head up. They can't, little Johnny can't wake up. There's often more to the story than meets the eye.
A couple of things we want to point out. If you know of a family in need, contact us, particularly if they involve students in the Jackson-Madison County school system. That email address is familysupport@jmcss.org. You can email us, familysupport@jmcss.org. Also, you can go to our website, jmcss.org. Look for the Let's Talk icon. Most of the icons on our website are blue. The Let's Talk or the contact icon is yellow. So we do want to make sure that our families out there, if you know of folks in need, or if you need support yourself, be sure to contact our social and behavioral services team. Dr. Shalonda Franklin and her team do just a great job in providing support. And Evette, when we spoke earlier this week, you were explaining to me that the school counselor's role is so important in helping you all meet these needs. Can you explain that to me?
Yes, the school counselors as well as the attendance secretaries. The attendance secretaries at our schools are my direct point of contact. I rely heavily on them because when families come in to register their children, there are certain questions that are asked and certain documentation that's required. And when those families don't have that documentation, there's a light bulb that just kind of pops up and they say, well, why don't you have this documentation? Why can't you provide this proof of residence? And so that leads to them either saying, well, currently we are in transition, we're in a hotel, or we're living with someone else, and the utilities are not in my name and they're in another family's name. And so that leads them to go ahead and reach out to me. They get them to complete a McKinney-Vento application that is sent to me, and I review those and get those processed.
Evette Nesbitt is a member of our district's family support team. Specifically, she works with McKinney-Vento, that program that provides support for homeless and displaced students. We want to thank Dr. Shalonda Franklin and her team really all year long, not just during the holidays, but really all year long, providing support for families who are in need. And remember, do not hesitate to contact your school counselor. Do not hesitate to contact your teacher, or specifically this team, our family support team at the district level. Again, that email address is familysupport@jmcss.org. Many of our community partners have assisted us with collecting coats. Of course, the temperature is getting colder, and we want to make sure that students have the clothing items that they need. Again, the Jackson-Madison County school system is tasked with doing much more than just educating students. And so, Ms. Nesbitt, we want to thank you for being here. Was there any other item on your list of notes? Because I don't want to be in trouble with Dr. Franklin when I get back to the office. Was there any other thing in your notes that you wanted to let the community know while we're talking about our family support team?
I do want to make note that Leaders Credit Union, in addition to the $1,000 worth of hygiene items that they will be providing and the families that they will be adopting, there were a couple of staff members at Leaders that have catering services.
Oh, wow.
And they will be providing a dinner for McKinney-Vento families on Monday evening.
So again, this idea that our community partners helping us in our mission to help these families. And we just want to thank Leaders Credit Union and the Leaders with Love Project for helping families in our community. And really, during the holiday season, it can be really, really tough.
It can.
And so we do want to thank Leaders Credit Union for their partnership with the Jackson-Madison County School System. Evette Nesbitt is a member of our district's family support team. And again, if you know of a young person or a family in need, the Jackson-Madison County School System certainly wants to do its part in helping these families. Again, you can email us familysupport@jmcss.org or go to our website, jmcss.org. Look for the Let's Talk icon or the Contact Us icon. You can share those details with our social and behavioral services team, Dr. Shalonda Franklin and Evette Nesbitt, and those team members will take that information, work in-house, but then also with community partners to make sure these needs are met. Ms. Nesbitt, thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We sure hope you enjoyed this episode of For the District, the JMCSS podcast. We want to thank Principal Shannon Davis of Alexander Elementary School for joining us in this episode. Do want to remind you, For the District, the JMCSS podcast is a production of the Jackson-Madison County School System in partnership with our friends at Forever Communications. You can listen to this episode on demand on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We hope you have a great Sunday and an excellent week. We'll see you next time.